Hello, my name's Holly, and I'll be walking through how to fill out the employee information needed for ACA Reporting 2019 for applicable large employers. If you've been with us before, it's exactly the same as it was last year. There's headers at the top asking for specific information, and for most of the columns, it's going to be information that you'll be able to run from a payroll reporting system or HRIS. And it's pretty straightforward. We've got first name, middle initial, last name, social security number, hire date, term date, rehire. If they terminated again, we have that date, their address, the city, state, zip, and then whether or not they were full-time or part-time. So it would be FT if they were full-time or PT if they were part-time. It makes a difference for the coding that ends up being reported on the 1095-C. And then we ask for an effective date of an insurance or a W if they waived. And if you're on a calendar year, you're likely only to use column N. Column O is only used for changes during the year and during 2019. So a lot of times this is applicable for employers who are on a non-calendar year because people may have enrolled, and then when open enrollment came up in June, they decided to drop the coverage. So that's what would be recorded on column O. It's also can be used for qualifying events. So if you had someone who had coverage but then dropped it because they got married, that would then change to a W. We have a column here for birth dates, which only needs to be populated if your ACA specialist has instructed you to do so. A lot of times we need that information for companies that have premium rates based on age. And then hourly rate only needs to be populated if your ACA specialist has asked for that as well. So what I'd like to do in some of these examples is to do some of the kind of more odd kind of things that happen. So we're gonna go ahead and start filling this out. We got Joe Lamb and then his social, and you can put dashes in here or not. When we get this back from you, we clean it up in a way that it is a CSV file so that we can upload it. Let's say he was hired sometime in a few years back. He did not terminate, but, and I'm going to skip address and whatnot here and just go over to full-time. He was full-time and he had waived coverage. His plan year happened to be from August to July. And then, so from January to July, he had waived, but then during August, he decided that he would enroll. So this is going to be an August 1 of 2019. And if you want to come over here and put enrolled at open enrollment, you can certainly do that, just so we know that it was an open enrollment situation. Now, if, let's see if we've got a second one. Let's do Amy Lee. And I'm going to skip over the Social Security number, but I am going to give her a higher date of in 2019. And no term date. I'm going to skip over the address. She too was full-time. And she did sign up for benefits, but you have to keep in mind her waiting period. So let's say her benefits become effective the first of the month following 30 days. And in that situation, we would put 5/1/19. But then she didn't change at open enrollment, which would have been August, but she did drop because she got married in November. So as of 12/1, she didn't have insurance. So I'm not going to put the date here. So I'm going to go back out. I'm going to put waived, and then I'm going to put dropped coverage 12/1/19, and you could put a qualifying event, so QE, or if you want to say married, we'll get the gist of why that change happened. Let's do another one here. John, and then we'll do Doe. And let's just say that this person had been hired, quite some time ago, and then terminated. And this is the termination date. Normally, we only need termination dates if they happened in 2019, and this would also be the case. So what we're looking for here is still the termination date in 2019. So let's say he terminated in 3/12 of 2019, but then he was rehired in 2019 as well. So he went out to greener pastures, didn't work out, so he came back in June. And so that's what you're going to do there. If he had terminated again, you would simply put another term date. Address, and I'm going to skip. He was also hired full-time. So we've got a couple of things going on here, and so it's very likely that you'll put the note. So let's just say he was covered the beginning of January 1, 2019. So even though the plan year is August to July, the IRS is only concerned about the calendar year. So if he had had insurance from May 5th or July of 2015 and never had dropped, you don't need to put the 2015 date. You can just default to January 1 of 2019. So then he quit, and then he came back. So when he came back, if it's been more than 13 weeks, then he would have to go through that waiting period again. So that would be he signed up again in 8/1/19. And so I'm going to go ahead and put that there, and re-enrolled at rehire. So that does a little bit of an explanation on how this works, this spreadsheet. Part-time, again, you will put your part-time folks. A lot of time they went part-time and full-time, and that's okay. You can put those notes in there as well. Work with your ACA specialist if you have any questions, and we look forward to working with you. Thanks.